Welcome to Dare a New Belief, a place to discover what is possible for your life after the loss of a loved one, and where you will find inspiration, insight, support, and love, and hopefully a bit of laughter to help you through your day. Now, here's your host, Nada Hogan.
Welcome to Dare a New Belief, where you will find light and life, love and joy, healing, faith, and hope. A place where you get to believe in what is possible for your life. And today I have the great honor to have back with me again, Kathleen Scherek. And in our first interview, if you did not hear that, please go back to last week and listen to that because it's fascinating. I got so engrossed in it that I almost missed my cutoff time for the first interview. So we're going to do the second one. And just a quick reminder of who Kathleen is. Kathleen Scherek is an award-winning educator, author, and sacred parenting coach. She mentors pregnant and new parents, grandparents, and child professionals who care for young children in the first 7 years of life. For more than 30 years, Kathleen has studied neuroscience, child development, energy psychology, vibrational health, quantum physics, and world religions. She has been a top international consultant to Fortune 200 companies, is a former university associate dean, and has advised the Walton and Gates Foundations about innovation in education. She is a co-founder of a Montessori-based school that has served thousands of families. She is a founding board trustee of several foundations. Welcome back, Kathleen.
Hi, Nada. Nice to be back with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm telling you, thank you. It is my honor. And I will pay attention to where we're at. So we don't have to have an abrupt crash landing at the end, but I'm just fascinated with this. And I have spoke with you before. It's been a year, but I have spoke with you before. And I'm just fascinated. So I would love to pick up where we left off. You were talking about one of your clients she was in a hurry to get out the door, a frantic hurry to get out the door. Her little one was on the floor, had poured out a box of cereal, and that was the question, like, so how would we naturally respond to that? And how this mother responded to that, and how it's just kind of a game changer in this child's life. And so I don't want to do the whole details again. So go back to that first episode and listen to that because it's phenomenal. And that, I think, Kathleen, if parents just knew that, how to have that response when it just feels like they're completely in that horizontal energy, to be in that vertical energy in the moment that you see that thing that your child is doing that you wish they weren't doing in that moment because you're in a hurry and you got your stuff you got to do. And it's the most blessed and sacred moment. I mean, my heart is just melting in that story of this little boy building a beaver dam with cereal on the floor.
Yes. And so it becomes a point of consciousness for us, right? It becomes a point of consciousness that, do we see misbehavior or do we see the child for something they're trying to say to us, for something they're trying to deliver, for who they're trying to be? And we cut them off because of our inertia of the outside world, or because of our to-do list that we have to get done that day, or because of business priorities, or because we're just have an axe to grind, or we're just out of alignment ourselves. So the question is, when we see our children doing things, especially in these early years, once they've learned a little bit more about how the world works and things like that, there can be clear misbehavior, age 9, 10, 11, things like that, and then we know how to redirect it and all. In these early years, there are some times there can be misbehavior, but we have to really be aware and conscious of, is this something that my child is trying to tell me, or is this something that has to be corrected? And too often we jump to the correction. we already assume that we know where this is going. Oh, this is going to be a big mess. Oh, I'm going to be late for my meeting. And had that mom done what we would all be inclined to do is, oh my gosh, son, what are you doing? Instead of, what are you doing? And her son actually feeling she was interested in what he's doing. And to have that information then 20 years later still hold up, that child showed the spatial intelligence that he could take from a 3D picture of a beaver hut and make it three-dimensional, that this is pretty transformative in terms of a through line for this child, that this is something that the mother was able to see and able then to use as different activities would come up for the child throughout life. This child became an expert in like Rubik Cube, building Rubik Cube, not Rubik Cube, that's not it, Rube Goldberg machines. Do you know what that is?
I don't.
This is where you create a whole complicated contraption to do a simple activity, like to ring a bell. Here, a ball goes down a tube, and then it hits you understand what I'm saying? It hits something. And in any case, that's Rube Goldberg, and that's also an indication of spatial intelligence because it's an engineering feat to put these things together, to be able to see in 3 dimensions what you want to create from 2. So it's one, but a powerful example of an aha that can change your life if you are open to it. As a parent, as an aunt, as an uncle, as a grandparent, as a teacher in a classroom, how often do teachers get stressed by the demands outside of the classroom?
Right.
And are pressed to have things done. So these early years of life, children, they really don't know how to be other than who they are.
Right.
So it's really our responsibility to meet them there.
Yes. I'm going to have to go back and do some deep thinking on the things that I was doing when I was young. Because I grew up in a very typical household where kids were to be seen and not heard. And, you don't, if there was company that came in, you could be in the living room, but you were not, nobody should know that you are there. You should just be fairly invisible. And it's amazing. It's amazing what we do to our children and culturally how we pass that down. Because if I wouldn't meet people like you and have had my own experiences in life that showed me that, oh my gosh, I could have raised my kids completely differently, then we just tend to do the same thing. But at the same time, I don't think our culture is allowing for that anymore. I think we're just at worldwide, I think we're just at such a place where we need to look at how we're doing everything so much differently. And that's why your work is just so important and so imperative. The timing on it is just phenomenal. So Kathleen, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yep. I was going to say that it can be parenting, grandparenting. It can be an aunt. It can be a neighbor child. It can be a child that is selling lemonade on the corner, and we stop and we interact for 3 or 4 minutes. Every little interaction that we have, when we have energetic alignment ourselves, when we understand the entrainment of energy, when we understand children who may not be seen for who they are and how they could use just a glimpse, then it's every child that we encounter. I've had experiences in airports where children run up to me. And it's, when we can see children for who they are, they know it. They know it. So it doesn't have to be our own all the time.
Right.
We can still have impact. Yeah.
Absolutely. The child in the grocery store. I mean, where are you not going to run across a child? Absolutely. You can have a huge impact on their life. And just that one person could be a big game changer in their life that gives them a little bit of kindness or acknowledges them for being, an entrepreneur selling the lemonade or whatever it is that they happen to be doing and really solidify that inside for them. So, yeah.
Well, this is what I really believe here, that children need 4 things to be successful in the world. And number 1, to be loved and valued. Loved and valued. Number 2, to be seen for who they uniquely are not for who we want them to be or who we were not, but who they uniquely are. Number 3, they're here to fulfill their own divine purpose on the planet. And number 4, those of us who are supporting them have a role in them fulfilling their divine purpose on the planet. And so that really is, if we can keep in mind those simple 4 things, that even a baby before they're born has a purpose here on the planet. Even that 4-year-old who looks like they're, running around on the playground without a care in the world, they have a purpose on the planet already. And it may not just be one purpose. That's a whole nother discussion. But that they already have callings that are pulling them. And we tend to, as you mentioned, it's such a traditional approach to think that children really don't have thoughts until they're older or teens, or that there's nothing going on in there until they can maybe talk or maybe form sentences or maybe until they're age 8 or 10 or something. When in fact, children come to us already whole. They come already intact, and they unfold before us. And it's a whole different way of seeing. And when you can realize that, it is. You have to be careful about not beating yourself up. I mean, Nate, I was a single working mom, 3 children under the age of 5, and I know very, very well the stress that happens with parents and with young children and all. I'm just, intimately familiar with it, unfortunately. But it's a part of the journey. And one of the lessons that I've learned as a businesswoman at a fairly high level with executives is, we have this saying that it's not what happens in life, but it's how you handle it. Well, it is one of the number 1 lessons that I actually advised corporate executives around in relationship to their customers. When customers have an issue and with your service or product, it is not that they have an issue that affects their loyalty. It's how you handle it, how you handle their issue, how you handle it with them. It's a lesson for us in life. How we handle our children, how we handle our stress is what makes the difference. It's not the situation itself. It's how we handle it.
Right. Absolutely.
Loyalty is actually higher. For just one little note, business-wise, a business tip: loyalty is higher when customers have a problem and they've been handled well by an organization. Loyalty can be 20 to 40 points higher than if they never had a problem in the first place.
Right.
I mean, that's the research that I did with companies. It's true. So there are a couple of companies that would create little problems so that they'd have an opportunity to excel in handling the issue. But that's a different discussion. But the lesson is really that how we handle things is what matters. So the more we can be in that vertical alignment we talked about last week, the better we are able to show up as who we really are, so the child can be themselves, because they know when we're being inauthentic, especially in these early years. Oftentimes if they're crying, they may not be crying. They may be crying because we're out of alignment. So.
I never even thought of that.
Well, they have biological things, of course, but certainly if we bring our own stress home and we go right into making dinner, and now we're putting all that stress energy into the dinner we're making, and now we sit down at the table and we eat with them, but we're let's eat and let's go. We've got somewhere else to be. Even in early ages, there's so many activities for young children. That stressful energy, again, through research with the Heart Math Institute and others, is directly palpable. Children not only feel it, they become it. So, the whole notion of entrainment is an energetic concept that we know that we can see biologically. I don't know if you had roommates ever, like in college or anything, but it's a known fact that women who live together often menstruate at the same time,
right.
And that's an entrainment. It's an entrainment of energies, and it's that similar concept with the 8 feet around us, that we can emotionally affect others